Today in NetSuite, we're going to be setting up a data flow from Intuit QuickBooks Online to Oracle NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. We'll be walking you through three things. First, we'll bring QuickBooks data into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse without transformation. Then, we'll bring QuickBooks data into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse with transformation. Finally, we'll also take a look at how to set data refresh frequency in NetSuite. All you'll need is your QuickBooks login credentials, which is your username and password, your Oracle Wallet.zip credentials, as well as your NetSuite Analytics Warehouse login credentials, which is also a username and password. Building a data flow in NetSuite requires as little as 3 simple steps. First, connect to your source, in this case, QuickBooks Online, where a next set data product will automatically be created. Second, we'll schedule our data refresh frequencies, perform data transformations if needed, and apply validations and filters on the data. Finally, we'll send our data to our destination. In this example, that will be NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. Today, we'll be working with invoice data in QuickBooks Online and bringing that over into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. Our goal will be to take invoice data you see on the left in QuickBooks and get invoice line items, totals, payment information, and more into a table in NetSuite Analytics Warehouse on the right. Let's go ahead and get started. Step 1. Connect your source data. First, you'll need to log into NetSuite's platform. After going to your product URL, you can either log in using your email address and password, or single sign-on if your organization supports that. Today, I'll use Google Single Sign-On to help me log into my NetSuite account. Now that I'm logged into my account, first you'll see your personalized dashboard. This dashboard will show you all of your records flowing from source to destination at a glance. If you're an admin, you'll also see your entire organization's usage of NetSuite. Scrolling down, you can see daily read and write stats, followed by any errors and notifications that require your attention. On the left, you'll see a toolbar where you can create and manage your flows, sources, data products, and destinations, followed by some extra tools and settings in NetSuite. To create a new flow, we're going to start by going over to Flows and click on Create New Flow. Then we'll click on Create New Source. Here we can see NetSuite's hundreds of pre-built connectors that come out of the box. Now we can either scroll or search in the search bar here for the connector we want. I'll scroll down to Intuit QuickBooks, and here we can see 2 options. Intuit QuickBooks for your production Intuit data, or Intuit QuickBooks Sandbox if you have access to that and want to work with test data. Today, I'll be working with production data in the full Intuit QuickBooks Online. So I'll go ahead and click on Intuit QuickBooks, and then click Next. If this is your first time in NetSuite, you probably won't have any credentials saved. To add a new credential, all you need to do is click Add a New Credential, give it a name, and then select the scope API you'd like to use, either accounting and payments, or just payments. For today, we're going to use the accounting API because that's where invoices data is located. Then, click Authorize, and a window will be brought up for you to single sign on into QuickBooks to authorize NetSuite to connect to your data. In this new window, simply sign into Intuit QuickBooks as you normally would, and then authorize NetSuite to connect to your data. After successfully adding your credential, you should see them appear in your credential screen in NetSuite. Click on the credential, and then click Next for NetSuite to connect to my QuickBooks instance. After clicking Next, select Get Records of Type, then put in your QuickBooks Company ID, which can be found in your QuickBooks settings. For detailed instructions on how to find this ID, click on the link to the video on the screen now or in the description. And then select the resource type you'd like to pull out of QuickBooks. Here you can select any data you want to pull out, like accounts, bills, company info, customers, employees, invoices, and vendors. Just select the type you want, and then click Test to see a preview of the data that NetSuite is pulling out, so you can double check it's what you're looking for from the right QuickBooks Online environment and the right company. Today, we're going to be working with invoice data. When I select that and click Test, I can see in my invoices here, I have different amounts due, different line items, and more information like addresses, billing addresses, and customer names and memos. If you're an advanced user, you can click on the Advanced tab at the top to input a custom API request to QuickBooks to get very specific data. This lets you have more control over the resources you pull. Today, I'm just going to be working with normal invoice data. On the right under Advanced Settings, you'll see where you can set the data refresh frequencies under Scheduling. Here you can select how often you want for Netzla to check QuickBooks for new and updated data. Today, I'm just going to select Daily and a time for Netzla to check. In the future, if you need to update the refresh frequencies, you can come back and edit the source here and change them in the source. Now with the data refresh set and my object selected, I can click Create in the top right, where Netzla will add the source, search the response it gets from QuickBooks, and automatically create a data product. In Netzla, a data product is called a next set. A data product is the logical representation of the data Netzla found in the source. This logical representation comes from the automation we've built in the Netzla platform. We automatically scan for metadata, schema, refresh, etc. to make it easy for you to work with this data. On this Netzla, if you click on the magnifying glass, you can see an abstraction of the data from the source as is. We can see a few sample records, the schema, and it can give you a quick idea of what the data looks like. Here you can decide if you need to do transformations or not before sending to NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. Let's say this net set looks all good and we don't need to do any transformation. Then you can go ahead and select Send to Destination and skip to Step 3 in this video. Step 2. Apply transformations, validations, and filters. If we do need to do some transformations, reform the schema, and rearrange the data before sending it to NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, then we need to enter the Transform screen in Netzla. To do that, just click on the Transform button here on the net set. This will take you to the Transform screen with 3 sections. On the left is the input of the net set that we discovered from QuickBooks Online. As you can see, Netzla put the JSON format in an easy-to-read table to help non-technical users do transformation. In the middle is the Transform section where you can set your transforms or what we call next set rules. These change and alter the data so that what you're loading into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, where you can see a preview on the right, is exactly the kind of data that you want in there to do analytics and reporting on. You can add as many transforms as you need here, and will even automatically suggest some down here based on the platform's understanding of the data. Today, we're going to create a new table inside of NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, and I'll show you how to build that in this screen now. I'll go ahead on the left and select the data I want so I can move it over into the right input. So let's say I can scroll through here and I want to pull out the customer name. I can just select that attribute here and you'll be suggested to move without modifying over to the right. When I click Run, I can see a preview on the right. When I click on this transform, I can now rename and change the attribute as is. We can see here it's an object of the customer ref title. So if we don't want it rearranged in an object, we can simply name this attribute customer name. Click Run, and we can see that it's pulled out as just a relational attribute. In doing this, you can grab and pull out all of the attributes you need from your QuickBooks Online response and build the table that you want to load into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse at the end of the process. Let's also pull out our invoice numbers, invoice due date, ID, and finally we'll pull out the total invoice due amount. If you'd like to apply any transformations here, you can click on the transform and then click on the function to apply any of Netzla's hundreds of pre-built transformations that come out of the box. These apply to most of the daily operations you'd want to do with data. In this screen, you can also click Add Rule Group to add validations, filters, and even custom code that will notify you when those validation rules fail and errors occur in your data flows. In this screen, you can point and click to build the exact transformations you need for the table and output net set that you want to create. Once you're happy with your transformation rules, go to the top right and click Save and Close. This will create a new additional net set in the data flow, taking the original data from QuickBooks Online, applying all of those transformations, and now ready to send and load into my destination. Step 3. Load into your destination, NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. When we're ready to load into our NetSuite Analytics Warehouse table, I'll go to the final net set and click Send to Destination. Just like adding a source, you can either search or scroll to Oracle Autonomous. This time I'll do a search. So I'll look up Oracle Autonomous, click on it, and then click Next. Again, here you'll have to add your credentials for NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. All you need to do is click Add a Credential, give it a name, and upload the wallet.zip, which is available in the NetSuite Analytics Warehouse UI if you have admin permissions. For step-by-step instructions on how to get and download this wallet.zip, click on the video on the screen now or in the description. Then put in your username and password, and if you'd like, specify a specific database and schema. After clicking Save, Netsuite will save and validate your credentials. And once you have credentials saved in your account, you can simply select those and click Next to access NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. Netsuite will now connect to your NetSuite Analytics Warehouse instance and pull up all of your existing tables. Click on the database name, and then NetSuite will pull up all of the existing tables in your database. Here you can look through your existing tables and check the schema and data types of any of them by just clicking on the table and then seeing all of the column names and their data types. First, let's take a look at if we want to load data into an existing table. Then we'll look at creating a new table. So for an existing table, all I'll have to do is scroll down to the table that I want to load data into, check the data schema and column names, as well as the data types, and then click Select on that table. Then I'll click Next, and Netsuite will pull up that table schema. On the left, you can see all of the attribute names that we can select from the net set we created earlier. In the middle are the column names that already exist in the table, so these can't be changed here. On the right is the data types of each of those column names, so you can check you're loading the properly formatted data into that table. Finally, at the top, we can see the update mode here, where you can select either Insert or Upsert. Insert mode will only add new records into your table without deleting or changing anything existing. Upsert is a combination of update and insert, which means any records that match existing records will be updated and changed for their new data, while any records that don't match will just be inserted as new data. I'll go ahead and leave it at insert. And if I wanted to load into this table, we can see I have to choose the attributes that match because I don't have any attributes that match the column names. All you have to do is select the dropdown and then pick the attributes you want to load into each column. If I was loading into this existing table, I would map all of my attributes to their matching columns and then click Save, where Netsuite will create the destination and start loading into my existing table. But today, let's load data into a new table. So I'll go back to my database and click Create New Table, and then Next. Go ahead and give the table a name, select the update mode, and we can see here Netsuite has automatically mapped all of our attribute names we set in the Transform Builder into the column names here. Netsuite has also chosen relevant data types for each of my columns, which you can set yourself manually here by clicking on the data types. Once I'm happy with these settings, I can click Save and then activate the destination for data to begin flowing. Data will now begin flowing through this flow into your NetSuite Analytics Warehouse table. Depending on the size of your data, it may take some time. When I open up my NetSuite Analytics Warehouse UI here, we can scroll down and see the new table that Netzla has created has already appeared with the schema that we've discovered and created in the Transform Builder. Now that my data has loaded into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse, running a quick query pulls up all of the invoices that we've brought over from QuickBooks Online, the invoice numbers, the due dates, and the IDs. We can see that this data has been brought over successfully from QuickBooks Online and is now ready in my NetSuite Analytics Warehouse table to be analyzed, turned into reports, graphs, and dashboards. Today in Netzla, we showed bringing QuickBooks Online data into NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. First, we showed you how to connect to your QuickBooks Online account and set the data refresh frequency in the source. Then, we showed how to perform transformations and apply validations and filters to turn that next set, a logical representation of the transformed data, into a new next set, which we then loaded into our destination, a NetSuite Analytics Warehouse new table. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more or contact Netzla's Oracle Partners team, please head to the website or email us at the email you see on your screen. Please feel free to watch additional videos in the Netzla NetSuite video series or contact our partnership team to discuss your needs.